The reference list is one of the most important parts of APA formatting and can be the most difficult to get used to. Fact is, most formats reference materials in a very similar way, but it's the little details that you have to pay attention to. On your reference list, the formatting style will generally look the same for most items, with the name, date, and title starting each citation. However, the citations can vary depending on the resource that you're citing. Just about anything can be cited in APA, including books and articles, but also movies, newspapers, emails, lectures, even conversations. There are differences in how these types of materials are cited. For instance, an article from a scholarly journal will include things like the volume and issue of the journal in which it was published. Most journal articles also have a DOI number. Citing a website, on the other hand, will feature different information, such as the name of the page, the name of the site, and the URL. It's important to be aware of these differences and to look up the proper format when creating citations. It's not important to remember how to format all of these, but rather to remember where you can turn for assistance. Remember those resources that we looked at just before this video? They're a great place to start. If you're still confused, don't hesitate to reach out to a librarian. Now's as good a time as any to remind you that Cal State Fullerton's virtual reference is available 24/7 on our library homepage. Some other notes about the reference list. Authors are listed by last name, followed by initials or first and middle names. The list is arranged in alphabetical order by the first author's last name. References that take up more than one line will feature a hanging indent, which means that any line after the first will be indented by a ½ inch. The reference list is single-spaced, just like with the rest of your paper. Sometimes, especially when citing a website, government document, or release from an organization, you won't find a single author name attached to a resource. In those cases, you would use the name of the office or organization issuing the document. In many cases, you might be lucky enough to find a resource in a database which can give you a citation for the item in question. If not, though, don't panic. Remember that everything that goes into a reference will be featured on the item itself. Creating the reference yourself isn't that hard. For instance, in a book, almost all the information you need is on the first few pages. With an article, most of the information you need is on the first page. Remember though, if you're quoting the article, you still need the page number of the section which you're quoting. For a website, look on the page for hints on the title of the page, the author, and when it was published. As a student working in APA, you're bound to run into situations where you have more questions. We all do. Just remember where to look if you need guidance. Thanks, and have a great day.